Okay, so get rid of all the Zoom stuff here. Okay, so in our folder again, or the interactive web 2, so the instructions are in the 13th through, that's the web review. No, it's not. I lied. It's in the 20th through the 26th. And it's the xhtml assignment, so I'll open that back up. And we almost are done. The only thing we need to do, I'll wait till this comes up here, is validate your index file. And we'll add one more. Oh, we've got a couple of things, I guess, to do. So the first thing I'll do, we're going to definitely get an error when we add this code, but it's normally good practice. So we'll go ahead and add it anyway. It's just not in the valid xhtml strict 1.0 markup. So we'll definitely get an error. And then I think we're probably going to get a couple of others that we'll note as well. So go into your Windows Explorer folder and then your xhtml. And let's go ahead and open up index in Notepad. So I'm just going to right mouse again on index, open with, and my Notepad. And then, and I'll show you what I mean by this. So when I open up index and, oh, no, we want to go to hobbies. We'll do this one anyway. But if I go to double click hobbies and I find my two favorite websites there and I click on them, they open in the same window. So if I close, and maybe this is the only thing open, but if I close, then I've just lost my viewer. So we can open, so we'll open up hobbies in Notepad. So again, I'll right mouse, open with, Notepad. So what we'll do is add on our, and I'll highlight that for you so that you can see it. So find your first web link, okay? And we're gonna open it in a blank target window. So we can go ahead and do the anchor hyperlink reference, da 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 da. And then after the quote, so add a space and then add target, and then equals, and then within quotes, blank. So space to separate, and then target equals blank. And then we'll save this. And when I go to my hobbies now, so for my index, at the bottom of my index, I can click on my favorite hobbies and go to the Kennel Club, click, and it opens in a new tab. Then my viewer can click. And I know a lot of folks know the back button, but they don't always click the back button. So then you lose your viewer. So we should do that with our other web link. So we'll go to hobbies again. And since we already typed in the command here, we can just simply copy it and then paste it into the next web link. So if you've got 2, 3, go ahead and paste that command in. Or code. And then just be sure to save. Yeah, if there's not a space, it won't see that they're different elements, different tags. All right, so then let's go to our web and then click a new tab, and then you can type validator.w3.org. So validator, and that's OR, VALIDATOR, .w3.org, and you get to the World Wide Web Consortium validation page. And we don't have a web address that we can check this against, so you want to click the middle tab, which is validate by file upload. So we'll upload our file and see what it looks like. Everybody get to that validator? Okay, so choose the validate by file upload. I'm going to choose my file. First one I'm going to look for is index. So I'll go to my folder again and just choose index and then open and then check. And it tells me, so I may have an error somewhere. Oh, I don't think it likes my ampersand style attribute, so there is also a type not specified. So we need to add a little bit there, and that's again, most XHTML or HTML and XHTML documents, doc types have the type attribute required on the script element and the alt attribute is required for the image element. So that's giving us a little example right there. And my ampersand, so it may not like that very well, so I may just want to spell that out. So you may have other ones. Oftentimes there's probably lots. I've had some students that have had as many as 52 errors, or maybe even 70. But it really isn't 70. What happens is you correct one error and it corrects about 5. So that's, so I'll correct these and I'll go back to index. So where's my ampersand? Right there. Doesn't like that. And then our instructions are going to tell us here. So in the style, my beginning style is going to look like that. And again, I need to include a space to separate those two. So I'll go back to index, up to style, and it's my beginning, so right before my grid container. Style and then space, and then within, so type equals within my quotes text / cascading style sheets and my quote. So just needed to add that, and I'll add that to my, again, copy and paste it. I'm going to add it back into my my hobbies page so that that's correct as well. We'll go ahead and save that. Go to hobbies, exactly the same thing. Find my style. Oh, I didn't add styles in here, so we won't add that to that one. Eventually we'll change all that, but as of now. Or did we have styles in there? No, we did not. Okay. Yeah, that is squished. And we'll change that with our next assignment. If you want to copy and paste everything, we can, so that it works the same. Do you want to just make them look the same? Okay, so in index, probably because we have to replace, we'll go ahead and highlight the whole thing there. The head content was the same, the meta, the title. So basically just grabbing the beginning of the style all the way through the close of the style, and copy that. Move into your hobbies, and we'll put it same place again after your title and hobbies. Paste that. And then we have to start the grid container. And remember, we started that. It was after our horizontal rule, after the mail to. So we can highlight the div class grid container, Control C that. Move to my hobbies, and we have our horizontal rule right before hobbies, paste that. And then we had to have the div container again closing, and div container closed just at, we don't have a footer in here yet. We'll eventually get that, but we're just closing it just before the end of the body, the end of the HTML. So I can copy that, move to my hobbies, and again, paste that. So when I come over here, it should kind of sort of look the same. And again, I'll go back to hobbies. So we added, copied and pasted from your index page right after title, but inside your closing head content area. added, so right after, and we can do a mail to, again, I can copy and paste that entire line rather than typing that in, but our mail to is not a live mail, so we'll do that. But right after the horizontal rule, we're starting our grid container, continuing it all the way through the end of the document. Okay, so the mail, and again, we can just take that whole thing. Shouldn't need to take the close of H4. In fact, I think we need to probably change, we could take this whole thing. We need to change heading, not heading 1 there. Heading 4, remember we had heading 5, so we probably could just copy and paste this entire thing. So Control C, and heading 5 seemed a little too small, so we can just highlight the whole thing, Control V, rather than editing the heading 4 to, or 5 to 4, and then adding our mail to, just copy paste. File, save. So if I refresh that, that's live, a little bit bigger. Got things I like to do, my images. The other thing that doesn't come up, remember in the old days, Internet Explorer always gave you a tooltip? Do you remember that? Okay, if you like tooltips, you can add them still. So for example, on my hobbies page, I'm going to go ahead and add, remember how we have alt, you know, my favorite Bo, my favorite dog, or Cheryl's favorite dog, Bo, whatever you said there. That's for screen readers, but if you really do want your tooltip, if you kind of like tooltips still, it's pretty much the same thing, but it's both having alt and title. So I would highlight, you know, my alt equals Bo, my favorite dog, and I can Control C to copy it, and need to have spacing again, same thing, Control V to paste it, but instead of 2 alts, one's going to be title. Whoops. Title equals Bo, my favorite dog. Alt equals Bo, my favorite dog. So I can do the same thing with my other image down here, Bo's cousin, Control C, Control V, it doesn't matter if it's before or after, and save that, refresh here, and I have a tooltip. Again, if you like tooltips. Okay, do you need to see the whole screen, the more of the document here? Okay, if we validate, so let's go ahead and get back to our markup here, and we can try to see if our index is correct. You should be able to just go back to choose file and same file again. Revalidate is at the bottom. You can also go back. Hopefully it's good to go. Okay, if it is good to go, there's code down at the bottom. I don't know if you went down there and saw the little congratulations, da 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 da. So what you can do is copy and paste this P tag to P tag. There's a reference to this little symbol here, the image of it. The source goes to a website. The World Wide Web Consortium has an icon for this particular image. There's alt text associated, the height and the width of that particular image, and you can just simply copy and paste that, and that tells the whole world that your document then is compliant with strict xhtml 1.0 doc type. Okay, so we can Control C that, move into your index, and I'm probably going to put it inside my div tag. So I'll put it at the end, right before or right after my link that goes to the other page. So I'll just put it here. Again, I can just copy it from the World Wide Web Consortium website, Control V to paste it. And it doesn't really matter that that P tag is not aligned with the other P tag. If you feel like you want to get everything aligned, you sure can, but it doesn't really matter. So I can save that again and come to, I'll go back home, and it shows the world now that it's compliant. I mean, not that you can't put that on there and find it elsewhere, but it's compliant. Okay, so let's go, so if I want to go to choose another file, And you're definitely going to get an error here. So if I go to hobbies and validate it, it's going to find an error there. It does not like, so it may find everything else okay. If you had an error on index and copied and pasted everything, most likely you copied an error. So you may have the same errors in hobbies as you did index. But it does not like target equals blank. And it works. It's not that it's not letting it function. It's just that target equals blank is not valid in the xhtml strict 1.0 markup. So just wanted to show you, I'm sure everybody had maybe one error, but that's what an error looks like. And we'll leave ours as is. Okay. So I know some of you may have some errors that you might need some help with. I'm going to go ahead and close my validation down. So to load it to box, we want to go to, and actually we can go back to to the my, and box. So if you got the invite, accepted the invite, you should be able to load this to box. And you want to be sure, again, file save. If you've made changes, make sure you upload the most recent version. You can go to box. It should say part of the university. Yes, I am. So continue. If you've not logged in, it may ask you to supply your NetID and password, so your login credentials. And you probably get already immediately to this folder. Is that correct? Okay. So you should be able to upload the entire folder. So you want to be sure you don't pick file. And then you'll browse to your entire folder. And do you need to click into this first and then upload the folder, or does it bring you here from your student end? Did you have to click into that first? So see, I have a string here. I don't think you probably see that same string.
I think you have to
click inside it. Okay, so you had my last view, this one? Okay, yeah, I would say probably click inside it. Oh, thanks, Amber. And then upload folder. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it would come up at the top there and you're just automatically in that folder. Okay, so that's the final part of that 15-point project. Does anybody have issues? Want me to check? Okay, I'm going to stop my recording here for a second. Okay, so be sure then to upload. And it looks like, Sierra, yours was okay. Okay, good. Yeah, so your last couple of additions, changes, whatever, to upload. And again, with the My Hobbies page, you don't need to put the little xhtml image because we know target equals blank is not valid markup within that xhtml strict code. Okay, when I'm grading, just to let you know what I'm going to be looking at. So on your home page, I'll be looking for the title. So remember, you put your name and city, state, whatever you thought was important in the browser tab. So that's your title tab. I'll be checking that. I'll be looking for your name in heading 1, large type. Heading 1 has structure after it. So the heading 1 through heading 6, they provide structure. So that's why it has that double space appearance. We didn't have to put a P tag in there, in other words, to create space. And by the way, there is a couple of ways to create space. Normally you want to format it correctly using structure versus adding a bunch of extra spaces. But one way is to add a P tag with a non-breaking space, and that's an ampersand and then NBSP with a semicolon. Not that you'll remember that, but there is a way. There has to be something contained in a P tag. In other words, if you put a beginning P tag and a closing P tag, nothing in between, it's not going to create space. But the space bar, which is called a non-breaking space, something's in there. And so it's going to give you a blank space. The other way you already know, remember the break, the BR. So that break is like a shift enter key, remember, in Microsoft Word, so you can get something single spaced. And like an address would look silly to have double space. So you do want to use, there are certain times you want to use a break, and there are certain times you'd want to use, you know, a P tag. So that's another way to get space in. I'll be looking for, you know, the course and semester. Your email link should work. In my office, I'll be able to click and get your email. There will be a horizontal rule that spreads edge to edge. I will be looking for the grid container. The colors that you chose are yours, so it's okay, but you need high contrast. So that's really all I'm looking for. Is if you don't like light blue and you like light pink, that's okay with me, but it just has to be high enough contrast so that I can read it. I'm hoping for a picture of you versus the dogs there. Another horizontal rule, just so that you can see what happens, and I can set the specifications for that rule. If I want it to be centered and only 20%, then it can be centered only 20% on that particular horizontal rule. Or I can make every single one of them. I can rewrite the tag, and every single rule is thick, 20% of the window, done. We'll also, once we come back here again, we're going to add to this assignment. I do only have background. I think some of you probably added more heading tags or H2 to further describe your skills. We will do that as we move on if you have not. Kind of proofread, you know, make sure it looks good. You should have a paragraph about yourself, a little bit about your educational goals, a little bit about your computer and web skills, and then we all have the University of Montana River Campus pictured here. We've got a link to hobbies, and then most likely you've got your web validation there. I will be checking for images. Remember, we applied the max width 100% auto height, meaning that as I squish it down, the images do as well. Remember last time before we did that, I made my user scroll left to right, and you don't want to do that. So I'll be checking for window size. I'll also be checking your link. So hobbies should link over. We've got the same things going on here. So you probably changed your main heading, heading 1. Your title tag might be a little bit different there. That's the same. Again, you've got hobbies. We put bow in there. We all did because that was our practice file. But if you want to add a second image, that's okay too. You have your hobbies, whatever they are. They should be bulleted. Your favorite website. You chose some image that represented what you like to do. When we open both of those, they should open in a new tag or tab, a new window. I will check them. Again, same thing there, so that when I close, I come back to your page, and then back to home should take me back to your index page. So that's how I'm going to be grading this. Okay? And I don't think there's really time to start the new assignment today. There's like 3 minutes left. Again, if you need to have anything, you know, catching up, I've got the recordings there. Images are there if you've lost them for any reason. And recording, oh, and that's the sign up now. I think everybody was able to do that, hopefully. And I can go look and make sure, we'll see who has been able to log on and not. This 15-point assignment is just where I'm going to enter your score. So you're not going to upload your folder to Moodle. We did the upload to UMBox. So that's exactly where I'm going to be grading. So then the following week is open. This week actually is open, January 27 to February 2. So we did this today. Just completed the xhtml 1.0 strict project 1. We submitted it to UMBox, and we will begin on Wednesday. We'll begin project 2, and this should, I'm going to read, that's document 2, sorry about that. So there's a document 1 that we just finished, and then an instruction document 2 that will take the project we currently have, and we're going to add to it and change it to include external cascading style sheets, a menu, a drop-down menu that hides, so you don't want to see the drop-down all the time. We'll be adding a footer, doing some more format, adding content, so you'll be adding more information about yourself, more information about favorite things you like to do, maybe your recreational activities versus academic activities. And then we'll review some of the handouts that I have within this section. So anyway, that I think is document 2, because document 1, yeah, I'll have to correct that, which I will. Sorry about that. We'll be using these images. So there's a Lori's Classroom here. When we size our screen, so sometimes at a large window, you may want a really nice big image, which we'll use the Missoula College as a really nice large image. If somebody were viewing on, say, a tablet, maybe we'd want a little smaller image, so we're going to use Lori's Classroom as our tablet size. And then we already have the small Missoula College, so we'll use that as we get to, say, a mobile size. We've kind of already got that one in there. So you can choose how you want your page to view in desktop, tablet, and mobile, and add instructions to do that. Okay, so I'll stop today, and then Wednesday